Alright, hey everyone. I just wanted to talk about what I think is probably my favorite and one of the best Affliction Warlock Covenants for PvP, especially Arena, and that is Khorane from Night Fae. I think Kyrian from Pelagos from Kyrian is still good, and Nadia from Venthyr is still relevant as well. And I would say that Khorane and these two are pretty equal, and mostly up to either personal preference or matchup based, with Necrolord being utterly terrible, and you should never pick Necrolord for Affliction Lock PvP. If you want to check out the trees from that, I will throw the link in the description, but this video is going to be for Khorane. So as a side note, just remember that this might change and be an obsolete soulbind depending on tuning and other stuff that might change as well. And another thing before we start, I think that the conduits that I'm going to talk about now are the best after more testing, and I think you should take them regardless of what soulbind you take, and always socket them. So firstly, for potency, which is your damage conduits down here, you always want to take Rolling Agony. Just increases the duration of Agony and helps out with the global issues that Affliction has. In my opinion, it's a lot more valuable than Focused Malignancy, which is our second best conduit. The damage from it is nice, but you're really not going to be able to cast Rapture too much and therefore not benefit from it as much. Whereas Rolling Agony is helping you with globals literally throughout the whole game. I think Crippling Leer is kind of okay, but it honestly kind of sucks compared to the other two, so I wouldn't really take it ever. For Finesse, I would actually take Shade of Terror, and they've actually changed it now to make it so fear effects can withstand a percentage more damage before breaking. I believe this also works for Howl of Terror, which is a really solid choice for 3s. Before, your fears would literally just break instantly, and now they do sit for a decent amount of time, which is reintroducing CC back into Affliction Lock, which is nice. The two other options that I consider pretty good as well, they're solid and I think are more matchup based perhaps, are Fel Celerity and Demonic Momentum. It's just a port sprint, similar to Soulburn port back in the old days, and this just reduces the cooldown on Feldom. The reason why you would take this one would be to kite better against melee, for example, but I think Shade of Terror is pretty useful for how to appeal for yourself. Fel Celerity has its use because when you take Grimoire of Sacrifice and have your pet sacked, if you spell lock someone, you can Feldom a new pet and spell lock again. It resets the cooldown sort of. So having Fel Celerity will allow you to do that more often. So for example, if you're facing like a double caster team, this might be more useful than Shade of Terror. But I think this is a pretty solid overall general pick. And lastly, Accrued Vitality for Endurance Conduits. What it does is it makes it so Drain heals for an additional percentage, and that is as a heal over time effect. I think this also works for Soul Rot drains with Night Fae, but I'm not sure on that one. Anyway, this just helps for extra self healing. It's pretty nice. The other option I guess you can take is Resolute Barrier. I just don't see the value in this right now compared to Accrued Vitality. It's alright, but I just don't think it's valuable enough. It's not really that useful, to be honest, because I don't know if games are even going to go that long. I feel like you're just going to die or you're going to kill someone before then. First up is we get to take 2 potency conduits in the tree. You don't get that luxury with some other soulbinds, so that's always nice. You get the most damage out of it. You get Rolling Agony and Focus Malignancy, which is what you both want. I also do prefer to have 2 finesse conduits, but in over 2 potencies, but in Khorane's tree you kind of need to take potency for this one. But anyways, so firstly we have Wild Hunt Tactics. What it does is it makes it so when you DPS anyone over 75% or heal anyone below 35, you get a 15% movement speed buff. And that helps a lot with kiting. Affliction locks are always kiting. And an added bonus is it's also a throughput increase for that, so over 75% you do more damage. If you heal someone below 35%, it also heals for more, which is pretty nice, but mainly for the movement speed and the DPS boost is what you want this for. I haven't actually tested if it works for healing, so like Drain Life, if you're low yet, but I can't see why it wouldn't work like that. Moving on. This one is sort of a passive bonus. When you use a soul shape thing, you just buff your teammates' movement speed. It's not that great and it's kind of whatever. On the other side, you have Wild Hunt's Charge, and I know some people are going to ask, why not take this path? Well, this is not really applicable to Arena. You're not going to be out of combat in Arena. Maybe in the opener you could blink onto someone and stun them, but I don't think it's really something you use for Arena. Maybe more for like BGs or other kinds of PvP. So, moving on. This is not really combat related, so we'll skip over that. The last ability you get as Corraine is this one here, Face Your Foes. I really like this one because what it does is when other people are facing you and you have like dots on them, they deal 3% less damage to you for 2 seconds. And so the uptime on this is pretty decent. You can see how it looks like by it's a little Battle Masters or Emblem debuff on the enemy frame when it's up, and it is up pretty often, so it's kind of nice. It would be better to have like damage reduction, but you know, this is the next best thing, and Warlocks have a lot of survivability issues, so this is pretty nice. I would say that the first talent, Wild Hunt Tactics here, and this last one, Face Your Foes, are the two main reasons why you pick Corraine. And the last one is Night Fae ability, Soul Shape. And I'm going to show that here. What it does is it turns you into a fox or animal. You can actually apparently pick other animals to mog into, which is pretty cool. I'm going to pick Toad later. And yeah, it just increases your movement speed and allows you to blink every 4 seconds. It lasts for a total of 12 seconds, so it really helps to just get away, especially in 2s. It's amazing for 2s. When you're facing like a warrior, for example, you can have port, you can have gate, and then you can soul shape when they finally get to you. And it just creates that massive like opening that the other Covenants just really doesn't have. Another really cool thing you can do with this is you can dodge CC, such as Fear or a Monk's Leg Sweep, which is it just makes it one of my favorite abilities to use. And honestly, I would probably pick Night Fae over the others just because of this one ability alone. It's just so fun to use. In addition to this, you also get Soul Rot. It's not that special. It's a dot on the nature tree, so you can cast it while you're kicked, or if you don't want to get kicked, you can cast this. It puts up a pretty decent dot, and it also AoEs and targets someone else next to them. And while it's up for the next 8 seconds, if you cast Drain Life, it also drains that person too. So why is that good? Well, it has really good synergy with ID, and pairing that with Accrued Vitality, the conduit here, you can actually get some pretty big drains and some pretty big self-healing, which is, you know, you're not going to get that happening too often in Arena, but it's a nice bonus. But yeah, so the main reason why I like Corraine is because Soul Shape, coolest ability for sure out of all the Covenants, and Wild Hunt Tactics, helping you to kite, and lastly, getting some damage reduction, some much needed damage reduction from Face Your Foes. So yeah, that's this is what I think is going to be my favorite and go-to pick for Affliction Warlock PvP in Shadowlands, and hopefully this was helpful for some of you guys. Thanks for watching. Peace.